Welcome back to the second annual BYU Basketball Media Day. There's a live look outside at the Marriott Center, home of the BYU Cougars, not to be confused with the Marriott Center, as BYU plays their games there. If you have questions for Brock Zylstra, log on to facebook.com/BYUtv Sports. Use the hashtag BYUtv Sports on Twitter if you're into that, or use the chat widget on BYUtvsports.com. I'm Jarom Jordan. Welcome inside Studio B, inside the BYU Broadcasting Building. Last year we were in the Marriott Center doing these chats. This year inside and on the True Blue set that you can watch Monday nights on BYU TV. Now joined by senior Brock Zylstra. Brock, I said Zylstranator going to the break there. That's probably not the best. You've never heard that, yeah. No one has. But Mike Hall has a nickname for you?
Yeah, just last week, a couple weeks ago, started calling me Zilly. I don't know where he got it from, but
assistant coach Mike Hall. You never know what you're going to get.
You never know what you're going to get from Mike
Hall.
Okay,
let's start with this. What's your full name and why were you named that?
Brock Matthew Zylstra, and they always liked the name Brock, but I think my dad got the inspiration from Greg Brock and Lou Brock, who are baseball players, played in the MLB, but I think that's where he first saw it and liked it, so he named me that. And then Matthew, I don't know where he got that from, but Zylstra is his last name, so
there you go.
It's my last name.
That works. Number 13, where does that come from?
Growing up, just my brother stuck with it. He had 13, my older brother picked 13, so I thought he was always pretty cool. Growing up, I wanted to be like him, so he wore 13, so I wanted to wear 13, and ever since then, it's just stuck with me. My freshman year here, my redshirt freshman year, I actually wore 31 because Austin Ainge had 13, so
then he left, and
now we got Cooper.
And now you have Cooper.
Yeah,
absolutely. Let's get to a couple of questions from the fans. Brock oozes confidence on the court. Where does that confidence come from?
I think it comes from a lot of hard work. I think you gain confidence in anything you do in life, I would say, but the basketball court for me is because a lot of hard work has gone into it, a lot of hours being put in, shooting baskets or dribbling or defense, whatever it is, and that's where confidence comes from, is preparation.
You go from a walk-on prior to your mission. You earn a scholarship after you come back from New Zealand. You play sparingly at best that 2 years ago, and then last year you go from 5 minutes a game to 28 minutes a game. What was that like to have that massive increase and be a significant contributor?
It's amazing. I mean, that's all I've worked for, is to have significant time on the court. So it's an amazing feeling to go from, like you said, sparingly minutes, a minute or two a game. I guess you said it was 5. Didn't even feel like it was 5 minutes a game. But it's a great feeling to be able to play and be not so much have an influence in practice, which is great as well. But I mean, it's better to be on the court and actually have that influence on the game, on the court and playing with your teammates.
Not all teams do what Coach Rose and the staff is doing, which is include the walk-ons on the roster. They are part of the team. They have a number. They have a jersey. They have the works. When you were a freshman before your mission to walk on, this was kind of the goal to get to this point, right? Be a senior, start, be a contributor, throw up 26-point games, stuff like that.
Yeah, it's been a goal. I mean, ever since I was a kid. So it's something that I've worked towards and tried to get to. And discouraging at times when you're not playing as much as you want, and you had to redshirt a year and then come back and you still didn't play that many minutes. But it's worked out, and I'm continuing to work, and I continue to want to have those minutes and to be a significant part of our wins this year.
Absolutely. And Craig Cusick, a huge part as a walk-on last year on this team. We'll chat with Craig a little bit later. Another question from the fans. Laura Payne, I know you shot 500 shots a day every day this summer. That ended up being 50,000 when all is said and done. Did it help? Sorry?
54.
54,000, yeah. Let's not cut it short, right? Did it help more with consistency or accuracy? What did you learn most from doing this?
I think what I learned most, and some of that I didn't really, see the end goal. I didn't really see the objective of it until I talked to Coach Pope about it. He's the one that encouraged us to do it and challenged us to do it. Because I shot, I was pretty good with shooting in the off-season anyways, but this is the time where I made sure I had a goal, had a number, and that it was going to reach, to this date and to have this how many shots. And he talked to me about it. It's not that you feel like, that your consistency is better, and maybe it is, but he said the main goal for it is that when the time comes, when there's 3 seconds on the clock, you're tied or down one, and this shot means something, a lot of emotions come into it, whether it's, nervousness, everybody has nervousness, or you're exhausted, so you're tired, but the feeling that you should have because of all these shots is that you deserve to make it, which is something that I didn't think about until he talked to me about it, but it's the feeling that you deserve to make the shot because you put in all that time. So that's the thing I think I learned the most about it.
Yeah, because I'd think muscle memory would help and all that. But you're right. It's like, hey, I paid the price. I've got the confidence that a little bit of that oozing confidence would come out a little more that were mentioned earlier. Travis Adamson, when on the road, who's the best roommate on the team? Who would be the worst?
The worst. I have to say Steven Rogers, because that's my roommate. That's who I've been with last year, and Mike Lloyd was the year before that. So, but I have to say Steve, because he's my current roommate and probably going to be on the road. The worst, I don't even know how to answer that.
Do you dare to answer that? Yeah.
Bill Hoops, if he's on the road with us, I probably want to be with him.
Bill, of course, hanging out with us here. Mac Nielsen, who is the best athlete on the team?
As far as jumping-wise, it's surprisingly maybe for most people, but Josh Sharp.
That was mentioned earlier.
Can jump out of the gym. And he hasn't shown it in the game yet, but if he gets the time to show athleticism, it'll wow a lot of people.
Brett McCormick, what has been the most fun game you've played in so far as a Cougar?
Without a doubt, the Iona game. The second half of the Iona game.
The last 25 minutes.
Yeah. So I guess the end of the last 5 minutes of the first half, and then the second half. But yeah, without a doubt, it was that game, because just as anybody's seen it, it was someone that we battled back and had. There's the picture.
You make an N1 that kind of seals the deal, and this is you. This is on ESPN.com. This is all over the internet. That moment, quite exciting.
My brother made fun of me a couple weeks after and said that we were calling you the walrus because of my mouth open like that. But no, I whenever I see that though, it just all the memories come back of how everybody was feeling when the comeback started to happen, and then at the end of the game when that kind of was, kind of over at that point. Some of it's history that'll always go down, and hopefully no one breaks that record.
A lot of adrenaline in that moment for you and a lot of Cougar fans.
Oh, yeah.
This afternoon, you'll see from Studio C the press conference in that. In there is a 27-foot screen that we lowered to watch the game with the BYU broadcasting employees. Quite the moment
I didn't know that.
for all of us. And there's a little juxtaposition.
This way, huh?
There, yeah. Give it to us again, the same one right there. Without the mouth.
There's my buddy.
Okay. Kevin Schaefer, which newcomer does Brock feel is the most likely to have a breakout year?
They all have. They're all talented. Love the way Cooper plays within himself. Corey can shoot the ball. Raul can shoot the ball. Raul is really athletic. All the guys that are coming on. Augie can shoot the ball. He's probably going to be needed a lot at the 4. So all the guys have a chance to play. I think it's just all different roles what everybody would be able to be put in, because Augie will be in there to fill the 4 spot because we're not very deep at the bigs. We have a lot of guards. Corey can come in and shoot. Raul can come in and play a great defense. He's a defender. Cooper can come in and just kind of, like I said, play within himself, and he just kind of knows how his game is, and he plays well.
It was asked of Cooper Ainge earlier, but who replaces Charles Abuo as the defensive stopper? Or it was asked of Anson, actually.
Yeah, I think that we, because Charles was an amazing defender. His strength helped him, his quickness, his athletic ability, everything. That's what made him a great defender. And but I think this year it's going to be more of a team effort. We have guys that can guard and can defend, but I think it's something that we can rely on our team defense, that we know where our teammates can be at all times, and we can force our guy to the help. And that's what Coach Rose's teams have been kind of made up of on the defensive end, is just being able to know that it's a team. It's all a team. It moves as a hand. It's not individual guys.
Charles was so versatile too, because he could guard a power forward, he could guard a point guard. That's how good it was. In terms of what you do defensively, man-to-man has kind of been the staple, and then we saw a lot of zone last year. How much zone do you expect BYU to play defensively this season?
I think it all depends on who we play, obviously, but our zone is great when we're clicking. Our zone is great. We move together well, and the one weakness of a zone, though, is obviously is boxing out and getting rebounds. So that's something that we need to focus on if we do play zone. But man-to-man, we're great as well. I think we have a lot of confidence in our defense this year.
Laura Payne, another question. You've played here for a while.
A long time.
What year was your freshman year again? Again?
06.
06.
Oh,
You're one of those guys.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the new student section?
It's going to be a change for sure. I mean, I haven't seen it since I've been here, obviously, and this is my last year, the first year that's going to change, so it'll be different. It'll be good in the fact that when the other team is shooting their free throws, that they'll be able to have some sort of distraction and try and get in the other players' heads, and it'll be different for the fans, but I'm excited about it. It'll be cool. It'll be a new experience, and hopefully the fans like it as well.
You wear the number 13. Riley Nelson also wears the number 13. So someone commented on the widget. They said, because Bronco Mendenhall has shown that he loves a good leader. He loves Riley Nelson. He says, does Bronco send you love notes because you wear number 13?
Yeah, I've gotten a few from him. No.
He loves anyone who has grit and fire.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, so I think that's a staple of BYU right now, and it might have been in the past. I mean, maybe it was the same thing, but right now I kind of see that a lot of the athletes here are just determined, and a lot of them just will put everything on the line to play, and you see that with Riley. Yeah. You see that with our team. It's just something that we, I guess, have at this time. It's just a lot of grit and determination, like you said.
If you, this is grit and determination right there, personified.
That is,
right?
Yeah, we are really tough.
What was that like to shoot that commercial?
It was actually really fun. It was different than what we've done before. And so
is that a different haircut for you?
Yeah.
Are you going faux hawk right there?
Yeah, sometimes I change it up a little bit, but yeah, the commercial was fun though. It was good to see the fans out there and supporting us during the summer when we don't even have any games, and over at Riverwood, so it was cool. It was a cool experience.
Awesome. We talked about those 50,000 shots. I guess you put up shots, but did you have a different goal like in seasons past? How did this compare to that goal? Yeah,
so like I said earlier, it was time where I had a set amount of shots I was going to shoot every day except Sunday. And so something that was totally different than what I've done. I would go out in the past and I would shoot with, whether it be Lee Kamar or one of my teammates, and just shoot and getting reps that way and maybe play some one-on-one. But this was a specific amount of shots every day, and it might seem like it was, I don't know, it was a lot harder than I thought when I first heard the challenge. Is something that I was like, I could do that. 500 isn't that many. But when you're in California on vacation, or when you're not feeling that great, or when your daughter went,
you've got a child.
Like, yeah, when she went,
got other stuff going.
She was in the hospital one time. We got to take her to the hospital, so it was just always finding a time because life happens, But yeah, it was a cool experience and something that I always talk about.
How long does it take on average to shoot 500 in a day?
It depends what you're doing. It depends if you're working on post moves or if you're shooting 3-pointers. Whatever the drill is, if you're shooting runners or whatever it takes. So anywhere from 45 minutes if you're going really quick to an hour and a half if you have a rebound. If you don't have a rebounder, it could take forever, especially if you're missing shots. It's not good.
So minimum 45?
Yeah.
Probably. Who rebounded for you?
I had my brother rebounded for me quite a bit. My dad, when I was on vacation with the family, he did. My brother-in-law, just whoever really. Our managers, when I would shoot with a teammate Craig, I shot with Craig quite a bit, so yeah, just whoever was there.
How good a rebounder is your wife? Was that part of the dating process?
Actually, one of our first days was we went and played horse, and she never played basketball growing up, so she's an all-star. No, but
good save.
Yeah. No, but she didn't really rebound for me when it came time to do these shots, but if I asked her,
good man you found.
Yeah, if I asked her, she would.
There you go. You played point guard the first 2 games last season.
Yeah.
You're waiting for Matt Carlino to sit out the first 10 games due to transfer rules from UCLA. Anson Winder ends up playing that. It was a little, I guess, unorthodox, but what was that experience like to, hey, I know you played 5 minutes last year. We want you to play more, and you're going to run point.
Yeah, that was
at Utah State.
Yeah, that was the biggest thing. I was going to play. I would do anything to play, whether it was play the 5, start at the 5, whatever it was.
You started at the 4 one game.
Yeah. So I played from 1. I started 1 to the 4. So this past year, but it was a tough challenge. I didn't really play point guard growing up. I played a little bit in an AAU team, a little bit. But yeah, it was a challenge, especially going down to the spectrum and playing there with that crowd and how amped up they are.
That's as tough as it gets, probably.
Yeah, so I mean, it was an experiment. I wouldn't say it was a failed experiment, but it was something. I'd rather do something else than play point guard.
Last year, you had 6 games of at least 15 points or more, 20 points 4 times or more, and at home against San Francisco in 25 minutes play, you hit all 8 shots, all 6 threes. How satisfying was it to, like we've said, not just play? You had some games where you kind of lived a dream come true, where you were the guy.
Oh, for sure, and it's just all opportunity for me. I think that yes, last year I wasn't like looked for as a scorer. You know, we had scorers. We had Noah, we had Brandon, we had Charles that could score. So it wasn't something that I really was looked at as a scorer. But when the time came and I was needed to score, I was lucky that I had some good games, and so it was very satisfying to have games like that and to feel, you know, like I said earlier, like a significant part of a team's win, and it was a good feeling.
In the middle of that run of you make 6 threes, you make all 8 shots. A shooter generally knows how they're doing, you know. I'm feeling it, give me the ball. Did you know, hey, I haven't missed, like, let's keep this going?
I can't remember exactly. I mean, I had to have known that I didn't miss, but I didn't know. Everybody asked me about the record, you know, about 6.
Mm-hmm.
If I would have hit 7 for 7, I would have had the record. I tied the record with 6 for 6, but I had no idea until after when somebody told me. That's not a stat that I keep in my mind to try and beat, but it's a good feeling. It's one of those things that most every basketball player has felt, is that they can throw the ball between their legs, behind their back, and it feel like it would go in. So it's just one of those nights that I had.
Absolutely. As you look ahead to this season, the identity may or may not change. I'm interested to see how it does, because 2 years ago it's Jimmer and Jackson's team, and you have a great cast around them. Last year it ended up being Brandon and Noah's team with a great cast around them. Brandon's still here. Matt Carlino emerged. You emerged. A lot of younger guys kind of emerged. What is going to be the identity of this team, and how much is post-driven? How much is guard-driven?
It'll be, I would say, mostly be post-driven. I think because you get a lot of things out of our offense through the post, whether it be threes or scoring with the post or whatever it be. And Brandon's, of course, going to get double teams. He's going to get monstered, as we call it, where 2 guys or another guy comes and helps. So that's a great advantage for us when one of our guys being guarded by 2, so somebody's open. So that's a great advantage. So I think most of it will be post-driven, but we have great scorers, you know, all on the floor. So Tyler Haas is back now. He can score. Brandon can score. Matt can score. I can score. You know, a lot of guys can score. So I don't think a team can just focus on one guy when they're game planning against us, because all of us can do it.
You knew the West Coast Conference would be good. We're talking with Brock Zylstra, senior guard for BYU. If you have questions, tweet them, #BYUtv Sports, facebook.com/BYUtv Sports, or use the widget to the right of the screen you're watching us on, BYUtvsports.com. You knew the West Coast Conference was going to be really good. You knew Gonzaga and St. Mary's were going to bring it. Some of these other teams emerged as being pretty tough. LMU, Nipsey at home, and San Francisco ends up playing you really tough on the road. I guess, what did you learn about the West Coast Conference that you didn't know after playing a year?
So you always hear West Coast Conference, you always hear Gonzaga, St. Mary's. That's basically all you hear before we started playing this conference. And so that was kind of all we thought about. But then when it came down to it, San Francisco, especially at the end of the year, they played really well. They played St. Mary's, us, Gonzaga tight, you know, at the very end of the year. So, and they had a good run at the last probably month or so of the season. And then LMU, great talent. They beat us here at home, which doesn't happen very often, you know, that we got beat at home. And a lot of these teams can play. San Diego's a young team that have great shooters. Yeah, it's just that you know that every night you're going to have to bring it, because all these teams can beat you.
Rick Rose, hopefully I said that right, Rick. He says, Brock, who is your favorite freshman?
This year?
Yeah.
Favorite freshman? I don't know if I have a favorite yet. Whoever gives me the most money probably will be my favorite.
Who gives you the most money? Not passes in a game. Money.
Yeah. No, I like them all. They're all. It's a weird, not a weird mix, but it's a good mix that we have with all these guys, and they gel with each other, and I like them all.
Okay. Over, I guess, a couple weeks ago, Turner came in here in preparation for the Coaches vs. Cancer Classic and spent a day at the Marriott Center doing interviews. Ernie Johnson, inside the NBA host, came and did interviews. You were one of those interviews to kind of document Coach Rose's fight with cancer. What was it like, I guess, meeting Ernie, meeting that crew, and what's it going to be like to play in that tournament and go back to Brooklyn to represent?
First of all, they put makeup on me, which I haven't had very often in my life.
We didn't ask you today.
Yeah.
They did.
No, it was a great experience. You see those guys in the halftime, all the NBA games. You see Ernie sitting there with Charles and Shaq and Kenny and all those guys. It's something that you always see, but some of us were able to experience and sit down with them. And then talking about something as personal as Coach Rio's story, it was a very cool experience, and to kind of reflect, all of us that were interviewed were able to reflect on all the events that happened with Coach Rose and how he's pushed through it and how it's affected him and the team and his family and everything. So it was a really cool experience for us.
And that story will air on True TV during one of those 2 games, we imagine, coming up next month. Well, best of luck on the season. We're excited for BYU hoops. I know it's the midpoint of football. Yeah. We get football and hoops to start. I love it.
It's the best.
It's the best. Okay, thanks a lot, Brock Zylstra. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Jarom.
Okay, coming up, Kyle Rose, nephew of head coach Dave Rose. He's a walk-on. We'll chat with him about his experience playing prior to his mission with Jimmer Fredette and that team, and now being back for this one. Kyle Rose coming up. Tweet questions using hashtag BYUtv Sports. Post them on Facebook.com/BYUtv Sports and use the widget on BYUtvsports.com. BYU Basketball Media Day continues on the home of the Cougars, BYUtvsports.com. We'll be back in a moment.